Welcome back to June Lake Productions VoiceOver Beginner Series. I'm James. Today we're going to take a look at a few of the ways you can begin to look for voiceover work and my experiences so far with them. Diving into voiceover, the places that jumped out immediately to me can be divided into four basic categories. You have the freelance sites. These are places like Fiverr and Upworks, and there's many others. The second category is audiobooks. The basic one you'll probably use the most for that is ACX, which is audible.com or Amazon's book production resource. The third category is pay for play. That's places like voices.com and voices123. Those are services where you'll pay to be listed or get access to their list of jobs available. The fourth is direct producers, like various audio and visual production companies for advertising, mostly YouTube and different things. But this is where you would go directly to them and offer your services for doing things. So we're going to focus today on the first three because they're the simplest way to get up and running. So first, the freelance sites. The first one we're going to talk about is Fiverr. So Fiverr is a free service. Anyone can join and put up what they refer to as a gig, which is basically an ad for your services saying, I will do X amount of work for X amount of dollars. They got their beginnings as basically being a $5 marketplace, hence Fiverr. By the way, that's Fiverr.com. And they got their start with it being a $5 job, but really the money comes in with various add-ons. So for your gig, for instance, for voiceover work, every time they go over X amount of words, that's another gig. Every time that they want, or you can set it up, I should say, as if they want the file broke down into multiple different files instead of one big long recording, they want 5 different pieces of that recording so they can maneuver it around better. That's an extra charge if you want. Video synchronization and on and on. And with those add-ons, some of the jobs can actually be pretty lucrative. So my findings there so far have been relatively low level. I have a system where I get on every day and try to generate some business by looking at other things that they've got going on there. It's hard to explain exactly without going really into detail, which we're not doing today. But so far, my experience has been pretty fair to midland. I'm not making huge amounts of dollars off of it, but I am generating some income there, and hopefully that will grow because, as you can imagine, there's already guys that are well established there. So it can be a little tough of a marketplace. The second one we're going to talk about is Upworks. And basically, this is the opposite of Fiverr. You do have a profile there and people can search for you. But generally what happens is clients will go on and create a job offering. I need a voiceover done for this particular script. And then various artists will search through for jobs of that type and then apply to those jobs. The client then has the option of looking at all the ones that have applied for the job and picking who they want to do it. Again, from my experience, I've heard people have some great success there doing various things. And so far in my experience, though, I haven't gotten any work. Zero. I've spent a few hours on it, but to be honest with you, it hasn't been a main focus of mine. I encourage you to check it out, but it's not where I'm making any money at the moment. So Voice Bunny, the easiest way to think of Voice Bunny is that basically the client hires Voice Bunny to complete a job. Voice Bunny, based on the client input, looks through their catalog of voiceover artists and picks some of the voiceover artists that most similarly fit that particular client request. They send out one of two different things. They either send out what's called a competition, and basically on the competition, They'll put it out, and the first 3 to 5 people or so that submit for that particular project, the client listens to those and chooses who they want. The other way that it goes is they do what's called a quickie. This is where the client really isn't real particular about it. They just need it recorded, done quick. They trust Voice Bunny to give them quality. So they just go in and release this quickie to the wild. The first person to record it and send it, meet their QA standards, bam, you got the job. So those are the 2 different ways. Voice Bunny is free, but be aware they have some really stringent quality controls. So when you first sign up for the site, they're going to send you a project like it's a job, and you're going to go through all the steps of completing a job on their site, just like as if you were doing it for another client. They're going to get your audio recording, and then they're going to put it through their QA. First time I submitted, mine got rejected for reverb in the room. So be aware they're pretty tight on their quality control. My experience so far with Voice Bunny has been all miss. I think the opportunities are there. I'm just not sure it's going to work out best for my schedule and what the way I work. The first time that I received an offer from Voice Bunny was a contest. It arrived at 2 a.m. I was asleep. Of course, by the time I woke up at 5:30, the job had already been doled out. I have only received maybe 2 other offers since then. One of them happened to be at 7 a.m. this morning, and by 7:15, when I saw the notification, I logged immediately in, started up my recording, looked at the site to see how it was doing, and there was 2 people out of 3 possible that had already submitted. So I'm like, okay, if I really edit this quick and master it, bam, maybe I can make it. No, didn't make it. In short, right before I mastered it, I went and did a quick look, and sure enough, all 3 had already been submitted. So I have yet to actually compete for a job on Voice Bunny. I've heard that people do well there. I've seen videos on YouTube of other folks that are finding their success there. I'm afraid it just doesn't seem to really fit with what I'm doing, or I'm not doing it the right way. Maybe we'll figure it out together. The other cool thing about Voice Bunny, though, is that they do pay you for auditions. So if I had auditioned and made it on time this morning, I would have been paid something. Whether I was selected for the job or not selected for the job, I would have been paid $5 or $6 or $12 or some small amount based on the length of the script. So that's a nice point. Nowhere else really pays you to audition. So next up, we have audiobooks. So far, I've been working with ACX, which is Amazon or Audible's site for getting most of their audiobooks produced. And in short, they do have a pretty stringent QA, but it is free to sign up for. And what you'll do is the authors or publishers will put books up there that they would like to have narrated. You will go in and audition for the type of book you want to do, and then they pick who they like out of all the auditions that they receive, and they make you an offer. Now, there's 6 different kind of pay scales going on there. The first one is royalty share, and royalty share basically amounts to you get a cut of every Audible audiobook sold, and you split it with the author publisher. And I think that works out to about 20% of the sale when you narrow it all down, because ACX takes their cut, and then the publisher / author gets their cut, and then you get your 20%. So far, my experience there has been great. I think I'm doing really well on that particular site. You can narrow it down by genre, whether they want males or females, whether you want to do any of the naughty stuff. There's tons of books on there, a lot of them. The vast majority of them are going to be royalty shares. And in a future video, we'll go over some of the things to look out for when deciding whether you want to do a royalty share or pay per finish hour. That's what they call it. So the other scales that they'll do for the pay is 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 200, 200 to 400, and there may be one up above that, like 400 to 500 or something like that. So basically, the author publisher will put that up front on their offer that they're looking to pay $100 to $200 per finished hour. Now, be aware this goes back to what we were talking about in a previous video, where for every finished hour, multiply that by 6 or 8. So if it's an hour-long book, you're probably looking at 8 hours for you to get it done. So when you're trying to figure out in your head whether you're making money on this or not, take their pay offer and divide it by 8 hours and figure out your hourly rate. So far, I've had some really good success there. I'm already had 2 books released, and I've got more in production now. So I'm really excited about that. Highly recommend you go check it out. The last part we're going to talk about today is the pay for play sites. This is sites like voices.com and Voice123. You can set up a profile on there on either site for free, but to get any real action, you have to pay. And right now that's running between $350 to $400 a year. I decided not to pay for these yet because I'm not really sure about the return on my investment. Arguments can be made that these sites are great for finding work, and I know that people are finding success there. The consensus seems to be, though, that it may be best for those just starting out to kind of avoid them. The competition there is fierce. I think it's Voices.com has something like 125,000 profiles on it. Now, are all those active? Are all those applying for the same things you're applying for? Clearly no, but still, the competition is pretty fierce, and $400 is a pretty sizable investment. I'll provide links for all the sites that we discussed below, and I encourage you to go check them all out. In addition to finding work there, a lot of them have some really great resources for you, such as tutorials, how to record, how to get started, how to make a demo. A lot of those things are there, as well as community, so you can keep in touch with what's going on in the voiceover community. So pretty cool stuff. Go check it out. Thanks so much for your support. And as always, please do go down below and like, share, and subscribe. Now dive in. Go do something you love.